All right, and I'm going to share my screen. All right, so you guys can see my screen now? Online? Yes? You see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so if you click on Honor Lock now, just to kind of walk you through the process. All right, you'll see there's test 1, all right, and it opens Friday the 13th at midnight, and you would click on, I don't have your screen, but you would click on that, right, to start your test, okay? And I can see the results. But anyways, so you click on that. I have set, the main way to get into it is what I would suggest is going to the course homepage. It's a Pearson test. So I would be on the course homepage, then start Honor Lock, then start Pearson, because I've unlocked Pearson as a site to use. So, you can click on your Pearson and find your test. I've also put it up. If you go to content, hello. All right, and if you look down and if you find test 1 materials, or test 1 items, where are they? Exam 1, exam 2, here, exam 1 items. So if you click on that, you'll see now that in there, okay, there's the Honor Lock instructions. Again, there's a review key. There's a key to the reviews. There's the part 1 and the part 2 of the review. So those are all up online for you guys. I would, my suggestion to you is when you work the review, it's not a grade. So it's something that, if I know how to do a problem, I'm not going to spend all my time doing that problem. I'm going to focus on the things I don't know. That's a strategic way to study, right? Is you don't focus on what you do know, you focus on what you don't know. But the key is there so you can check your answers, okay? So get started on that. You have till Friday. Now, there is a link down here to the test. It's not open yet. So obviously, if you click on it, it'll say something like, you dummy, it's not available or something. I don't know. But you might be able to get the test that way. I just haven't tried it. I can't try it. So, but I know I can get through. I know I can get through Pearson. So anyway, so that's that. Okay. With Honor Lock, you have to show your ID in the beginning, right? And your calculator, scratch paper, go at it. Close it at the end or something. Yeah. Is it after you submit the test? After you submit the test. Anyway, so that's that. Any questions about what I'm expecting on Friday? Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about the test today, and if I need to on Thursday, depending on how today goes. The thing with the test is that, like I said, it's 21 questions, multiple choice. So it makes it easier in that, you have answers to choose from. But the reviews are pretty much based off the test. So I put the reviews together after I put the test together. So we're going to open up the review and we're going to start with the first part today. Let's get it open. All right. So can you all see that online? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
So remember, you have a calculator. There's some things on here that are pretty basic. I'm just going to ask you, could I convert 5/16 to a percent? Could you do that? Okay, I have some questioning looks. So convert it to a percent, you just take 5 and divide it by 16, right? And then you multiply by 100, right? So I end up getting 31.25%, right? Okay. So that's all you got to do to convert a fraction. This one you would multiply by 100 and get 62%. Why won't let me write? And then draw blue. There's gonna let me. All right. So, for part A, I would just do 5 divided by 16 times 100, and I ended up on my calculator with, what did I end up with? Didn't do that anymore. Oh, I did it on this calculator. I ended up with 31.25%. All right. All right. Is that all right? Do I need to do any of those on number 1? Is there any more you want me to go through? Take a look at them. Anybody have anything else on number 1 I need to go through? All right, you good? Yes? All right, so number 2, convert to a decimal. Let's do a percent. Which one do you want to do, B or C? It doesn't matter. All right, well, nobody's picking, so I'll choose C. So if I want to write 8.25% as a decimal, all I do is take 8.25 and I divide it by 100, right? That's all I need to do. All right, so just plug it in my calculator if I need to. And we get 0.0825, all right? So just take the number and divide by 100, right? Now 2/3 is a little different, right? 2/3, it's already a decimal, it's not a percent, so I just take 2 and divide it by 3. So 2/3, I could do this way. I know what it is, it's 0.667. All right. All right, any questions on number 2? All right, so convert a fraction to reduced form. It's really easy with the calculator. 0.24, you just enter it in the calculator and you hit math frac, right? Math frac. 6/25, right? Okay. So the calculator is really handy for that. Now for 32%, you're going to take 32, right? Divided by 100. That puts it into a decimal form, right? It's 0.32. And then I just do my math frac again. Right, so I get 8/25. So, use your calculator. Don't be afraid to use a calculator on this test. Okay, calculator can help you quite a bit. All right, are we okay with those? We okay online? Yeah, okay. All right, so number 4 is it's got a bunch of exponent rules. All right, so the exponent rules that you need to know, let's list them. Anything to the 0 is 1, right? When you multiply exponents, what do you do with the exponents? So what's x to the a times x to the b? What's the rule?
Add.
Add, good. So it's x to the a plus b. X to the a over x to the b would be subtraction. Oops, a minus b. Sorry, that looks horrible. And x to the a raised to the b, that's the situation where you multiply, right? Okay. And remember, you can pull an exponent through a product, not a sum. So what I'm talking about, if I have xy to some power, I can pull it through as x cubed, y cubed, right? All right. So those are pretty much my exponent rules. Okay. You have to follow PEMDAS, parentheses first, then exponents, then multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So when you work these, just don't forget about PEMDAS. All right, so it looks like there's a whole bunch of examples. Is there anyone in particular you want me to go over?
You could do F.
F? F looks scary, right? Okay, so we're going to start with F. I guess I'll do it down here. So remember, this is this exponent rule. I would take the -1/2 through first, right? So what you're going to write this is 9 to the -1/2. So if I do 12 times -1/2, I'm going to get, you multiply the exponents. 12 times -1/2 would be -6. And I could do that on a calculator if I didn't know that. And then -6 times -1/2 is +3. Okay. Is that all right? Oh, and there's one exponent rule I forgot. X to the -a, remember negative exponents we don't like, we put them on the bottom, let's make them positive, and if they're on the bottom, we pull them up to the top, right? Don't forget about that. Okay, all right. So I'm not done yet because of the negative exponents. So the negative ones come downstairs, the positive one stays upstairs. So the y cubed is going to stay upstairs, 9 to the 1/2 comes downstairs, and x to the 6. Now, remember what that fraction means. The 1/2 means the square root, right? So they're telling me to take the square root of 9, or I could plug it in the calculator. 9 to the 1/2, it turns out, is 3, right? It's the square root of 9. And now I'm simplified, okay? I'm simplified when the bases are, I don't have any like bases in there. When I have all the numbers and fractions reduced and all positive exponents, I'm done. Is that okay? Yes? Whoever asked for F? Okay, what else of that subset would you like me to do? I know what I want to do, but If you don't ask it.
Can you do D?
E, sure. All right, so if I do D, I'm gonna need to erase, I need some space here, so I'm gonna have to erase it. Erase. I need a little bit of space. I wrote all the rules there. You gotta erase these things. All right, so D is scary because of the fractions. So what you have to do is, I mean, I look at this and the first thing I want to do would be 32 to the negative 4/5. You know, now you can do it by hand, but you can also just plug it into the calculator, right? So since you guys, probably the calculator would be the best bet for you. So if I do, I'm just going to type 32 raised to the negative 4/5. And I get, I'm going to hit math frac. Enter, I get 1/16. So I've already got that, right? So that's 1/16. So I'm going to write that first. 7, oops. Right. So I have 7x to the 2/5 times 1/16 times x to the 3/5, right? Now, the numbers come together and the x's come together. So 7 times 1/16, that's like 7/16, right? Just multiply the tops and the bottoms. So the number is going to be 7/16. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the exponents, because I'm multiplying them, I'm going to add the exponent. So I'm going to add 2/5 and 3/5, right? Well, what's 2/5 plus 3/5? You guys tell me. If you need a calculator, you can do it on a calculator. It's pretty, yeah.
Doesn't it equal a whole?
1, right? So really 2/5 plus 3/5 is 1. So this is x to the first power, but I don't really need the 1, right? Because this is x. All right, so that's what D simplifies to. Okay. Just to be aware, they could also write this. I should mention this just because I've seen it before on things. They could also write it as 7x/16, right? That does the same thing. Okay. The x is on top. All right, anything else you want me to do of that set? Okay, so the only one I want to talk about here is I. Remember, there's a difference here between that and that, right? The 0, what it applies to. But this one, the thing that I want to remember is that the x to the -3, the -3 is only going with the x. So the x comes up top and the 8 has to stay on the bottom, right? So don't forget about that. Okay, people like to move those. All right, are we good with exponents? Any questions about exponents? You can do the rest of these. Like I said, all the answers are up there on that site, so you should be able to do them and check your work. All right, the next thing we have are just basic equations. So if you look at the next problem, the next couple of problems, let's look at A through C. Is there any of those I need to solve? Those are ones you're solving for X. Are there any of those you want me to go through with you? Are we good? All right, so you should be able to solve something like that. Make sure you can distribute and collect like terms and all that stuff. I want to do D here because I always worry about D because there's a negative in front of that parentheses. Remember that negative gets distributed to both of the items in the parentheses. So this would be -4a minus 32. I don't know how often I see that people forget that. All right, and that equals 16. Once you've got that step, you're home free. 8a minus 4a is 4a. And then we add 32 over to the other side. I can add it on my calculator if I needed to. 16 plus 32 is going to work out to 48. I divide by 4 and I get a equals 4, okay? Is that all right? Don't forget to distribute the negatives. All right, is there any E or F? Do you want me to go over any of those with you guys? You okay over there? You good with E and F? Okay. All right, so you should be able to solve those. All right, now you might have equations with fractions. All right, I went crazy on this. You don't have to do all. I wouldn't do all these. All right.
Actually, I did have one on F.
Okay.
It was, I kind of got stuck with x minus 3 and then x plus 20. I don't know what I did there.
Let's do it and see what happens. So you want to start with the inside parentheses first, right? Distribute the 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to keep this here. And so I get plus 3x plus 3, right?
Right.
Equals x plus 20. And the minus, well, I guess I can combine 2x and 3x. I can make that 5x, right?
Right.
Oh, I see what's going to happen. I know why you got stuck. All right, so if I subtract, I get 6x minus 5x minus 3. So what I end up with is x minus 3 equals x plus 20. And then you were like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Right?
I was like, what do I do at this point?
Okay, so this is really a contradiction. If you minus x, right, off both sides,
Uh-huh.
plus 20, you get negative 3 equals 20. That's a contradiction, right? When you
Right.
get a contradiction, it means there's no solution.
Okay.
All right, so there would be no solution to that equation. All right, so any kind of contradiction like 1 equals 2 is no solution. If you end up with something like x plus 2 equals x plus 2, where you have the same thing on both sides, that solution is all real numbers.
Right.
If I end up with something like 2 equals 3, that would be no solution.
Okay.
Okay, is that all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we better work on with fractions because I know fractions aren't your friends. They should be, but they're not. All right, we good with this one? Okay. All right, so I don't know which one you want me to work. They're all kind of the same. I went crazy on this for no reason. Which one do you want to work? We'll work one of these.
Let's do A.
Okay. So with fractions, I'm going to suggest you guys get rid of the fractions. That's the first thing you want to do. So what you want to do is you want to look at the bottoms of all the fractions. And you're going to go, okay, what's the common denominator between 3 and 4? So what number, what's the least common multiple is basically what I'm asking. What number do they both divide?
12.
12 is 1. It's not the least common one, but 12 will work. 12 will get you there. How about we find a smaller one though? Okay, let's talk about how to find least common multiples. Start with the biggest number, right? 3. Just 2 go into 3 evenly. Then start doing multiples of 3. What's 3 times 2?
6.
6. Does 2 go into 6?
Yes.
There's your common denominator. So I just start doing multiples of the biggest number. All right. So 6 is the common denominator. So what you're going to do is you're going to multiply every term in the equation by 6. I just like to do it this way. 6, 6, and put a 6 there. So I multiplied every single term by 6. If I've done it right, the fractions will now go away because now you're going to divide. So 6 divided by 2 is otherwise known as 3. And 6 divided by 3 is otherwise known as 2, right? So now I can rewrite this. 3 times x plus 2 plus 2 times x plus 4, and it equals 4 times 6, which is 24. See how by multiplying by the common denominator, the fractions are no longer an issue. Okay, and now we don't have to worry about fractions. So now we're just going to distribute through. So I get 3x plus 6, and then I have these guys. So plus 2x plus 8 equals 24, right? So now we're almost home free, right? We're down to something that's easy. All right, so collect like terms. 3x and 2x is 5x, and 6 and 8 is 14. So now we're going to minus 14 off both sides. So I get 5x equals 10, and divide by 5, you're going to get x equals 2, and there's your solution. Okay? Now with equations, you know you can always plug it back into the equation and make sure it worked, right? A multiple choice test, your option is to always plug in back in other equations.
Okay.
Okay. All right, any of those, any other fractions you want me to go through or? You good? Okay, so, you know, if you don't feel comfortable, work some of those, right? You have all the answers so you can check yourselves. All right, now, rational exponents was something that we did. Remember that there's a rule, x to the m over n. You can write it as the nth root of x to the m, or you can write it as the nth root of x raised to the mth power, all right? And just to remind you, if the top power is 1, it's just the nth root, right? Okay. So you should be able to rewrite a rational power as a radical, and a radical meaning a square root sign, and a radical is a rational power. So I'm writing these as radicals. So like if I want to write x to the 1/3, that's simple, right? I would just write the cube root of x like that with a 3 outside. Remember, the bottom goes outside, the top goes inside. Be careful. I do want to talk about C and D. The parentheses and not parentheses. Whatever's in the parentheses needs to go inside the radical. So if this is 2x to the 2/5, what you're going to do is you're going to take 2x, you're going to raise it to the 2, and you're going to take the 5th root of that. But since the 2x is in parentheses, I'm putting the whole thing under the radical. So if I square that, I get 4x squared. So it's the 5th root of 4x squared. Is that all right? Now this one, see there's no parentheses. So let me tell you a couple things. I hate negative exponents, right? So we're gonna fix that right off the bat. I'm gonna make it 2 over x to the 2/3 like that. Right? The 2 doesn't go with it because it's not in parentheses. So and now I just rewrite the x. It's 2 over, this would be the cube root of x squared. Is that okay? That's that. Okay, I'll leave the last one for you guys. All right, are we good? Yes? All right, the next one, now we're going the other way. It says, and pay attention to the directions. It says radical form, right? That means that kind of form, right? Although your answers won't give you an option with a multiple choice test. Positive rational exponent. So I want them to be positive, and rational means fractions. All right, so I don't know, let's look at A. So what I want to do is whatever's under the radical, you're going to put that in parentheses. So 6x goes in parentheses. I'm cubing it. So the 3 goes up top, and I'm taking a square root. So a 2 goes on the bottom. All right. So if there's nothing in front of the radical, you need a 2 on the bottom. And that's all I can do. Because I want radical, I want positive. Is that all right?
And since it's negative, you put the 1 up top, right?
Huh?
Because it's negative, you put up a 1 on top.
Right. I mean, I could rewrite this as 6x to the negative 3/2, but because the instructions say positive, I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
I thought about doing that. Oh, no, don't do that. Okay. So is there any of those B, C, or D you want me to do? That's all right. Okay. All right. That's rational exponents. I gave you more practice on these. I don't know why I did that. It's more of the same, 1 through 8 on the next page is more of the same. In fact, some of the problems are the same because I do. Of 1 through 8, do you want me to do any of those for you on this page? You guys are good? Sorry, I need to get some water here. All right. All right, so they're kind of the same thing. Now, starting here, if they give you numbers are just numbers. You can always plug them into the calculator, right? If I want to take 8 to the 2/3, I can simply go in here and enter 8 raised to the 2/3, like so. So a number really is not a problem. I would be surprised if you see a lot of those on the test because you can just plug them in, right? All right, but the by hand way to do it basically means that the bottom number is the root. So I'm taking the cube root of 8, do the root first, and then I'm going to square it. The reason I tell you to do the root first is because it's easier. All right, so the cube root of 8, what number times itself 3 times is 8? What's the cube root of 8?
2.
So it's got to be small, right? So if I do x times x times x equals 8, what would x be?
2.
2. There we go. So it's 2 squared, which is otherwise known as 4. Okay. So you evaluate the root of u squared, but you can also just plug it into your calculator because you guys do have calculators. All right. Now, 13 through 16 here are rational exponents. All the exponent rules still hold. They just happen to be fractions. All right. So you want me to do one of 13 through 16?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Particular one?
14.
14. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do 14 down here. Okay. You have 4b to the 2/3 times b to the -1. All right. Now, you have a calculator. Make advantage of your calculator. So I'm multiplying two things with like bases. So I think, okay, what do I do with exponents when I multiply?
Divide.
Well, we could divide. You want to divide it? We could do that too. Somebody brought up, there's sometimes there's different ways to go. He wants to divide it so I can make it b to the 2/3 over b to the 1, right? I could do that. Right? If I want to, then what do I do with the exponents?
Couldn't you just add them?
add them?
Well, we're now, yeah, you want to add them here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could do b to the 2/3 minus 1, right? Plus -1. You know, you can plug it in your calculator if you need to, but 2/3 minus 1 is going to be b to the -1/3.
Right.
But the negative, remember, no negative exponents, right? No negative. So what do you do with the negative?
You would raise it above.
Okay, so negative exponents.
Do you
Flip.
rewrite it again with the regular 1/3?
Right, so we make it 4 over b to the 1/3.
Or you drop it instead of rise it because it's already up there.
Yeah, so if I, like, for example, if I have 1 over b to 1 over x to the -2, that's going to be x squared, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I have x to the -2, it's going to be 1 over x squared, right? So that negative flips it. Okay, so if it's on the top, it goes to the bottom. If it's on the bottom, it goes to the top. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. Any of these other ones you want me to do? Before I move on?
Can we do 15?
15? Yeah, okay. So 15 is the deal where you have a power to a power. So you can distribute the -1 through, right? So you just multiply the exponents, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start by distributing the -1 through. So 1/2 times -1 is -1/2, right? Or if you'd like, actually, you know what the easier thing to do? Well, okay. It's -1/2, so it's a to the -1/2 times b to the -1/2. See, I just multiply the exponents because you have a power to a power, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we don't leave the negatives where they are, right? So they're both negatives, so we're going to take it to the bottom, right? And that's my answer. Okay, now if you like, the other thing you could do is, oh, well, it's just a -1, so I can just write this 1 over a to the 1/2 b to the 1/2, right? Because I just took it to the -1 power, so I can flip it to the bottom and make it +1. Okay, however your mind works or processes that is fine. All right, give it those.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's the end of part 1. I'm going to pull up part 2. All right, so basically from part 1, you should know how to solve an equation, a basic linear equation, convert from fractions, percents, decimals, work with exponents, know your exponent rules. You should be able to work with equation and fractions and equations and these rational exponents, right? Write them as radicals, write radicals as fractions, okay? All right, so I'm going to pull up part 2. I just made 2 parts for some reason. Really don't know why. Actually, let me make this bigger. Okay, So what else should I know for my test? You should know how to multiply polynomials. So look at number 1 here on part 2. Do I need to do A or B for you guys? Okay, don't forget with B, right? It's not, you don't just square both of them, right? This means 2c minus 5, just from experience, what scares me. This means 2c minus 5 times 2c minus 5, right? And then you would FOIL it, right? Don't do something like 4c squared minus 25. Right? Is that all right? Do I need to go through the FOIL or are you guys okay? Yeah, okay. So if I go through FOIL, remember what FOIL stands for. First, outside, inside, last. So the first 2c times 2c is 4c squared. Outside's 2c times negative 5 is negative 10c. Inside's negative 5 times 2c is negative 10c. Last, negative 5 times negative 5 would be positive 25. Right? Because negative times negative is positive. Then I just pull up the like terms. These two terms are going to be the same. So negative 10c and negative 10c is negative 20c. Okay? All right? Okay. All right, and this one, remember, you can do the box or you can multiply, you multiply every term by every term, right? And add them up. Okay. When it asks you to find the equation of a line, there are lots of ways to do this. My suggestion would be to use the calculator when you have 2 points. Do I need to go through how to use the calculator? Yes. Okay, so what you do with the calculator is pretty much you plug the points in. So I'm going to pull up my calculator. And let me get there. Okay, so I'm going to press stat. That's where I edit stuff. So I'm going to press stat and edit. Stat 1. So the x's go in L1 and the y's go in L2. So I'm going to put negative 1 and 3 as a point. And then the other one was 4, 8. So see, I put the x's in L1 and the y's in L2. All right. You doing okay? You figured it out? Okay. So then what we're going to do is we're going to quit out of that, hit second, and then mode or second quit. We're going to go back to stat, and we're going to go over to calculate, CALC. So go over there, and we want lid right number 4. So we're going to go down to number 4, press number 4, press enter. And you'll see it should say X list L1, Y list L2. And we're just going to go down and calculate here and press enter. And there it is. So A is 1 and B is 4, so it's 1x plus 4. Right, would be the equation of that line. All right, is that all right? So I got x plus 4. So you're using the calculator. I got x plus 4. It's not the only way to do it, but I think the calculator is really easy. All right. Now, what if they give me a point and a slope? Okay. Some of you guys like point slope form. Point slope form, you can use that if you'd like to. You have to find the slope and, but basically what I do with the calculator, if you have 2 points, you can get the equation of the line. So one of the points is 1, 2. So the slope, remember, is the change in y over the change in x. So we can get another point by using that. All right. So this tells me that y is going down 2 and x is going up 3. So I just add that to my point to get another point. So I end up with the point 4, 2 minus 2 is 0. So now I have 2 points to plug into the calculator. I have 1, 2, and 4, 0. All right. So now I'm going to use stat. 1, 2, 4, 0. So I'm going to go back to stat. Edit. 1, 2. That should be a 0. I'll also get it out of the way. And the other guy was what, 4? Okay, I think I've got them all right. So now I'm just going to go, I'm going to quit out of that. Hit stat, calc, number 4, lin rig. Go down and calculate. All right, and they're fractions. If you, let me just write the answer down. I get negative 0.667x. I forgot what the other one said. Plus 2.66. If the answer in the test is given as fractions, you can convert these to fractions on the calculator. The way I would do it, I'd enter negative 0.666 if I didn't know it all the way across. Just type as many sixes as you can across. That should be enough. All right, and then if we hit math frac, it'll give me the fraction, right? So it's negative 2/3. All right, and then if I want 2.666, same thing. I just do whole bunch of sixes. Should be plenty, and I hit math frac. All right, so there's the thing as a fraction, okay? All right, is that all right? All right, so use the calculator for lines. All right, one of the things we did with an asynchronous thing is setting up word problems, all right? Usually with money is a big one. So let X represent the number of dimes and Y represent the number of quarters. I just want to set them up. John has twice as many dimes as quarters. You need to be careful with the word twice. So how would so the dimes are X, right? And the quarters are Y. Okay, so the question is, where do I put the 2? Next to the X or next to the Y?
Next to the Y.
Yeah, you got it. All right. The dimes are twice as many quarters. And you can think about it. If I got 1 quarter, I now have 2 times 1, I have 2 dimes, right? So I can always plug a number in and check. I should have more dimes than quarters. Okay, people struggle with the word twice. All right, the value of the dimes and quarters is 215, so that comes down to money, right? The value of a dime is 0.1, the value of a quarter is 0.25. It's not just X plus Y because you have to put the money in, right? So the value of the dime would be 0.1x, and the value of the quarters would be 0.25, right? That would be the sum of the money, and that equals 215. All right, is that okay? So you may have a simple word problem to set up. You're not going to solve it, just say set it up. Okay, I know you do. All right, so, now we have a graph. All right, so I gave you graphs. Remember now on the test, you're not, remember that deal with the square brackets, you're not, it's obvious, you're not going to have that issue where I was talking about. Sometimes they're round, sometimes they're square. So if they want the intervals of increase, you guys tell me, what are they? What's the first one you see?
The constant is from 1 to 2.
Okay, the constant is from 1 to 2. Did I ask for that? Yeah, okay, so, and 1's going to be a round bracket. 2 is going to be square, right? Because if I'm not including it, I use an open circle or infinity, right? If I am including it, I use a square bracket, right? Okay, so intervals of increase, where's it going up? Remember, you're only looking at X, you're not looking at Y.
It's going up from, are you saying increase? It's from 2 to infinity.
Infinity is one of them. I'm using an open bracket on 2 because there's an open circle and an open bracket on infinity. There's another interval of increase, right? So we got this one taken care of.
And it's going to be from 0 to 1.
Right, now 0 is the thing where there's some unclarity, but on the test you won't, you'll know. Some people will put a square bracket, some people put a round bracket. I'm a fan of round, but I'm, you know, it's just me. All right, so, but that 0 is kind of, we're just gonna leave it. And then I remember in between them, you put a union when you have more than one interval. Okay, so the intervals of decrease then is what? There's only one more interval. I got this taken care of, I got this taken care of, right? So I have this left. So how do I say that interval?
Infinity and 0.
Negative infinity, right? To 0. Infinity always has a round bracket, and I'll put a round bracket on 0, though it's unclear whether it's round or square, it doesn't matter. All right, now I should mention, I did see when you guys were writing your inequalities in the discussion forum, some people did this. That's a no-no. All right, the most negative number always comes first. So you don't write, you know, from 4 to 2. You don't write that, right? You write from 2 to 4. All right, so the most negative number must come first, the smallest number. All right, when you're working inequalities. I guess we'll get to inequalities. I did see some of you don't know the difference between less than and greater than, which we'll talk about. Okay, but I think I have some inequalities. All right, we okay with interval notation? All right. Greatest common factor, remember that's the number, the biggest number you can find that divides them all. So if you look at 2, 6, and 8, what number goes into 2, 6, and 8? Do they share?
2.
2. And then with the x's, what you want to do is you want to take, for a factor, you're going to take the smallest power of x they have. So the smallest power of x they share is just
X.
x. And y doesn't have any, the others don't have y, so we ignore it. Okay. Remember, when you're factoring, the first thing you always want to do is take out the greatest common factor. All right, this is just the start of factoring. Do I need to do B? Or are you guys okay with that? Okay. All right, now, speaking of factoring, all right, on the test, I'm trying to avoid you being able to just multiply things together. So this is how I test you, is right like this. 1 factor of x squared minus 9. Now I need you to know how to factors. You remember your difference of squares, right? You know that a squared minus b squared factors a minus b times a plus b, right? So I just take the square roots. I know this would factor x plus 3 and x minus 3. They only want 1 factor. What that does, it prevents you from multiplying them. All right, you have to be able to factor. So I just go pick the factor. That's one of the factors which we make. All right. That's how I'm going to test factoring on the test. Okay, so we have some factoring problems. A lot of them. Which of those, what would you like me to go through?
All of them.
All of them. Okay. I mean, I don't mind doing that as long as you guys, okay. So the thing that I'm going to write down my general procedure. All right. Step 1. You're always going to take out the greatest common factor. I'm going to write GCF. You're going to take it out. Step 2, you're going to look at the number of terms. If you have 2 terms, you're going to look for a difference of squares. If you have 3 terms, you're going to kill the common factor. All right, you're going to do the blah, blah, blah. You're going to multiply these, find factors of this and add to that, right? So the number of terms tells you what to do. But the first thing you should always do is take out common factors. All right, so let's go back up. So we look at the first one. Is there a common factor I can take out of A? So I look at both terms. Is there a common factor I can take out of these?
2.
2. So I take it out, meaning I divide each of these by 2. So I take a 2 out. And I'm left with x squared minus 4. Now, I count the number of terms. There's 2 terms, right? So I'm looking for a difference of perfect squares. Is that a difference of perfect squares? So a difference means subtraction. Am I subtracting them? Yeah. All right. And squares. All right. Can I take the square roots of those things? Pretty much. So I can factor them. So the way that you factor this, you take the square root. So the square root of x squared is x, and the square root of 4 is 2. So one factor would be plus, the other one would be minus, and you're done. Is that okay? Now, I threw a trick at you. If you look at B, that is the sum of squares. It's not a difference of squares. You remember what the deal is with the sum of squares? You remember?
Prime, isn't it?
Yeah, these are always prime. They don't factor. Okay, it has to be subtraction, all right, for it to factor. This doesn't factor. All right, what about C? You tell me how it factored.
Wouldn't it be the lowest common factor would be 7 from 49? But wouldn't it be 7x to the second?
No, okay, so remember our options here. Okay, we're gonna go back to our options. How many terms are there?
2.
So we're back to this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I need to take square roots and make one minus and one plus, right? All right, so what's the square root of x squared?
7.
Yeah, so we're gonna do x minus 7 and x plus 7, right? And we're done. Okay, so two terms, you're gonna go to that difference of squares, take the square roots. One's positive, one's negative. All right, so for D, now how many terms, do we have a common factor I can take out? I'll ask you that first, just to get you in the mode. Is there a common factor? There is, what is it? What's a common factor? Can I take out a common factor? Is there something all three terms share? It's surely not x, right? And 5 doesn't divide 6, so there's no common factor. So we're down to 3 terms. We're going to do our little umbrella method. So I'm going to multiply the first term and the last term. So 5 times 1 is 5. So I need factors of positive 5 that add to positive 6. So what would they be?
2 and 3.
2 and 3. All right. Simple. When the first term is just x, you just write x plus 2 and x plus 3, and you're done. So when the first term is x squared, all you need is the factors. You're pretty much done. Okay, I'll tell you what, if E, F, and G, let me do one more of those. Actually, what time do we get out of here? 1:25.
We still have 20 minutes.
Okay, all right, I'm all right, okay. So let's do this one. So is there any common factor? I always ask myself that for E.
4.
Or can you take 4 out of this guy?
Oh, wait, never mind.
No common factors, okay? So we're gonna do our little umbrella method. So I'm gonna multiply negative 12 times 1 is negative 12. So I need factors of negative 12 that add to negative 4. So find me some factors. Remember on the calculator, if you struggle with factors, you go to y equals and you can do negative 12, whatever the number you want factors of, divided by x. And then you go to the table and all those whole numbers are factors, right? So find me 2 factors that add to negative 4.
-6 and +2.
Negative 6 and positive 2. So all I have to do is write my x's and it's -6 plus 2, right? And that'd be factored. All right. Okay, let's do this guy. Factors of 20 that add to negative 12. If you're struggling finding factors, do 20 divided by x. Find me 2 factors of 20 that add to negative 12. Find them yet? In the calculator, do 20
10 and
divided
2.
by- There you go, 10 and 2. Now I want them to be negative, so I'm going to make both of these negative, right? Because negative 10 times negative 2 is 20. And that gives me
Yes,
negative.
ma'am.
So now I've got it x minus 10, x minus 2, right? Okay. All right, one more of these guys. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. I need factors of negative 24 that add to positive 10. It's pretty close to the last one.
10 and -2.
10 and negative
No,
2.
12, wrong, 12.
You know what? Oh, what did I do? Yeah, it's not the same. All right, 12 and negative 2, right? That'll work, right? So it'd be x plus 12 and x minus 2, right? All right. All right. Now with h, I, and j, you'll see the x squared term. The lead term is not 1 anymore. So now we're going to do the kill a common factor stuff. So with that method, what you're going to do is you're going to multiply 15 times 2. Oh, is there a common factor I can take out? I should ask you that first.
No.
But I'm going to check it. All right. So I get negative 30. I want factors of negative 30 that add to negative 1. All right. So find me those factors. Again, if you're having trouble in the calculator, do negative 30 divided by x. Then go to the table.
6 and 5.
Okay, 6 and 5 will work. I want to make one of them negative though. Which one am I going to make negative?
The 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, because 5 minus 6 is -1, right? So with kill the common factor, remember what you do is you copy and then you kill. So you copy the 2 to the front. So you make it 2x and 2x, just like that. And you put your factors down, -6 plus 5. All right, what I've written is not correct until I kill the common factor. So look at each set. Is there something I can take out of the first set?
2.
2. So you're going to divide each of these by 2. And you get x minus 3. And is there a common factor in the second set between 2 and 5? No, so you're done, right? You're now factored. Okay, so copy the lead term, write down the factors, and kill the common factors. All right, now be careful of, okay, so the next one, 3, 37, and 12, is there a common factor? Is there anything I can take out of 3, 37, and 12?
No.
No, so we're good. We're not going to do that. So we're going to multiply the first and the last. So 3 times 12 is
36.
36. So you need factors of 36 that add to positive 37.
36 and 1.
There you go, 36 and 1. So with kill the common factor, I'm going to copy the 3. Okay, write down the factors. Plus 36 and plus 1. The 3 gets copied, and then I write down the factors. Now I kill a common factor. So the first set, can I take something out of the first set here?
3.
3. So I'm going to divide them by 3. And I'm left with x plus 12. What about the second set? Anything I can take out of the second set?
Nope.
Could you make that a third? X plus a third?
Huh?
Wait, okay, never mind. You wouldn't do that.
Take out fractions, only whole numbers, okay?
Okay.
Don't only take out whole numbers, don't take out fractions. Okay, are we good with that? There
Yes,
we
it
are.
is.
All right, and so this last one, this is one. Okay, how excited are you about multiplying 35 by 49? Okay, when I see a problem like this, I go, there must be a common factor. And there is, all right? Take out, that's why you want to take out the common factor first. What's the common factor between all the numbers?
7.
You're going to divide them all by 7, right? Take it out. I'm going to put this 7 out front.
49.
Left with 7x squared plus 2x minus 5. Right now, this looks so much better, right? So when I see these big numbers, I know that I can take out a common factor, right? All right, so I multiply the first and the last. -5 times 7 is -35. I need factors of -35 that add to +2. So what would they be?
7 and -5.
7 and -5. So now I'm going to do my kill the common factor. I'm going to copy the 7 to the front. Write down the factors. +7 minus 5. That 7 I took out in the beginning, it just comes along for the ride. So I'm going to go down here. So can I take something out of the first set?
7.
And divide them each by 7, right? And you get x plus 1, right? And the second set, can I take anything out of there?
No.
You just leave it alone, right? And there you are, your factor. Okay. All right. I will tell you, there's one thing I've forgotten here that I just don't see a problem. I'm just gonna show you something in case you see it. I don't know if you will or you won't, but I thought, oh, maybe I should mention that in case it shows up. If they give you something like, that'll work. Okay. If they give you something like this and it looks really scary, it's not, remember, you can take out, what's the common factor here?
X.
X, you want to take that out, right? Because you should have an x squared, you shouldn't have an x cubed, right? You don't have a factor x cubed. If you take the x out, you're just dividing all these by x, right? And now you're left with something normal looking. Right, and now I'm going to do my kill the common factor. So I multiply the first and the last. So I need factors of -14 that add to -5. What are they?
7 and 2.
-7 and 2. All right, and then I'm gonna copy and kill. So I put the 2x, copy, write down the factors, and kill common factors. So there's nothing I can take out of the first set. The second set, I can take out a 2, right? So I'm left with, and I'm factored. Okay, I think that's it, right? That's the last thing we did, okay? So if you could do the stuff on this review, you won't have any problem on the test. So we're talking about exponent rules, radicals, fractional exponents, factoring, what else? Solving basic equations and setting up word problems, right? And equations and lines, okay? That's pretty much your test. Okay, and the test is multiple choice, so I mean, I think it makes it easier because you've got the answer sitting there, right? Of the choices, so hopefully, you know, oh, I got the answer, okay? All right, and that's what I have to say. So you have Friday, it'll open at 12 a.m. and it closes at 11:59. The only other assignment you have this week, I wouldn't worry about it until after Friday, is doing that 4.2, all right? So and we'll talk about 4.2 on Thursday with any test questions. And that's this week, because this week you're focusing on your test, okay? All right, any questions for me?
You said we had the exam and what else?
Or what?
You said we have the exam and what else?
Section 4.2.
Oh, homework or whatever.
Let's do Sunday at midnight, okay?
Okay.
4.2, we'll do it on Thursday. It's just more factoring. It's more advanced factoring. It's not gonna be on the test, so, all
Sounds good.
right. And that's it. Yeah, that's it. All right, then we're done. Have a good week.
Thank you. You too.
Have a
Thank you
good-
for the help. I very much appreciate it.
No problem.
How do you do those calculator tricks? Because my calculator like doesn't even
Yeah,
have.
you have an Inspire, right?
Yeah.
Let me show you how it works in Inspire. It's like the other one, it's just not. I'm not as good with these, but it's okay. So what you do, let's see if I can find it. All right, so we need to go to the graphing workbook. Oops, uh-oh. There we go. There we go. Okay, I want to get to, I want the graphing, I think I want the graphing part. I'll just look. No, I don't want that. Where's the algebra? Oh, you don't have to teach.
You put the homework.
I gotta find the buttons. Let's think of this thing. Where's the algebra? Let's see if I can find it.
I think it's in the menu.
Where's the menu? Okay, menu. Oh, yeah, okay, algebra. Okay. Or maybe it's under stat. You know what's under stat, because that's where if you press statistics. We're gonna. First I need to enter it, right? Is weird. You have to enter stack calculator. Okay, linear regression. Yeah, there we go. Okay, you have lists somewhere in this calculator. We have to put the points in the lists, right?
I'm not sure. I've never done that with these calculators before.
You got a second? I'll look it up. I'll look it up in the. Here, let me look it up in here. I'll look it up at home. Ouch. I have one at home. I'm just so bad at using it. I've been so like.
Yeah, high school, they never really taught us how to do those things.
Okay, so this is Inspire, linear regression instructions.
Like those are the exact ones my high school had.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Inspire is okay. It's just got a lot to it, you know?
Yeah.
I would just like a PDF. There's videos, but I'm gonna see if I can just find a PDF.
Is that the one you're using on your computer?
I mean, yeah, it's an 84, but let me find a PDF of it. There we go. All right, stock calculations. I got that. Oh, here we go. No, that's not what I want. All right, here, I don't like that. Let me find. Yeah. All right, linear regression on the Inspire. I'm just gonna play the video. It's the quickest thing to do.
This is a tutorial on how to use the TI Inspire to do a linear programming problem. All right, let's start off on our home page and let's select choice number 1, new document. If you have anything in there and you want to save it, now is the time to do it.
Right.
Otherwise, hit that. First kind of page you want to add
There we go.
is a list spreadsheet. And we're going to give this first column a name. So maybe for the independent variable, we have something like time. And for the second column, we're going to represent our dependent variable, we'll put something like cost. Or whatever the problem is that you're dealing with.
I think that's just labeling it.
These variables. All right, let's enter a couple values real quickly. 0, 0, 1, 2.1, 2.2.
2 points. So let me just run through.
None of them where the data is entered. But to do that, you're going to hit your menu button. You're going to go to statistics, stat calculations, and you're going to take choice number 3, which is linear regression. Calculator is going to ask you, okay, what's in the X list? What's in there for the independent variable? Well, we said that would be time.
Okay.
The Y list or the dependent variable, what's cost? And it basically tells you where it's going to save the regression equation in your calculator. That's function 1F1. And basically at this point, you can go ahead and hit OK. Notice you do have the regression now. Slope is 2.014, 0.062. Then you have the diagonal, the correlation coefficient, which in this case is 0.9927. So, all right. Next thing you might want to do.
All right, that's enough.
All right, let's start off on our home page and let's select choice number 1, new document.
All right, that's enough to get me going on this. So what we're gonna do, we gotta put it in a document, all right? So clear, so you're gonna go doc. Oops, cancel everything. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I get back. How do you cancel this thing? There we go. All right, now doc, right? So we're gonna do, is it file?
I get what you go kind of go back there.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, so new document, right? Do you want to save it? Okay. So we want lists, right? That's what we're doing. So I'm gonna put, you can name these, I would just call them
Like X
X
and
and
Y.
Y, you know, they'll let me. But they're using those as variables. I don't know if it'll matter. X. Call this guy. What, Y? Okay. So you put your points in, whatever they are. 1. All right, let me go back up. All right, so press 1, right? Press enter. Yeah, this off. Okay. Oh, why it makes me press enter after every 1, 3, and then enter. Right. Just put your points in.
So basically, after you put the points in, you kind
Then
of.
you go back to the lane rank. So you go to. I'm making a points, right? All right. So we got it in there. All right. So now what we're gonna do is I need to go back to menu. I'm gonna go to statistics. Right. And I want to do stat calculations. I want to do lane rank, right? And then the L list, we called that X, right? Yeah. And Y list was Y. Okay. We go, okay. Hello. Okay. Oh, shoot. Use one of the following commands. It doesn't like X and Y, so let's call it A and B, okay? It doesn't like X and Y. I don't know why. Circular definition. Do I even need to name those things? Well, I'll just call it A and B.
So it's like once I kind of get like the list done, it's kind of similar to what you
What I
doing.
did, yeah. But I mean, you can also just look it up online like I did, because I'm not as good as working with this calculator. I wonder if I just leave them off. I wonder if that would work. right? So now if I go to home, what is it? I have to do calculations, right? One more when you do, maybe that's what it is. Probability. No, not probabilities. I want statistics, right? There you go. Statistics. Stat calculations, Lindbergh. All right, so let's try AB. I don't think I gave it a name, did I?
No.
I wonder if it'll just let me do it. Oh, see, that's how I get the list. It's like scroll over and arrow over and it should give me a list names, but I don't have them. I wonder if it'll fall. It probably will. On. Okay, yeah, I gotta give it a list. Oh, I know, I'll call it X list. Let me go back to documents. Edit. That's not the one. Document. Oh, let me put in, I'll just go home. That's the easiest way to do it, right?
Yeah.
To-
You're the one, you can use the one we.
Let's do this, we save, all right, so. All right, menu. I don't want to do that. Go back. All right, new document, right? Just add list, right? All right, I'll just do a new one, but I'll call it list X, okay? List. Oh, that's good enough, X. All right, I spelled it wrong.
Yeah.
All right, variables not defined. What the heck? It doesn't like the X. I guess I can't do that.
We call it like time, like what he did.
I'm just gonna call it B and C. Okay, yeah. B, C, right?
Mhm.
All right, now I'll just enter my points. 1. I don't know why it keeps doing that. 1, I'll just make that 2. I'll go over here, 3, 5. Okay, so I've got them, right? All right, so now I go over to menu, right? Statistics. Stat calc. Right, stat calc. I need to pull my Spire out. I feel bad on this thing. All right, so X list, I'm gonna go see what options I have, and it doesn't give me any. What did I call it?
What a BD.
It's not giving me any list options. All right, all right, I have to stop being lazy. All right, let me go back. How do I get back? Menu. Now it won't let me. I have to cancel it. All right, let's name them. All right, let me call it
Time and work what he did.
sure time,
Something quick and easy.
time. And here. Variables not defined. Store? Is that what I want to do? I don't want to call it equals. There's something about the way I'm defining it. What if I do this? Where's store? You have a store come in?
I don't know. But
All right, let me go watch the video again. Hold on. There's something about the way I'm calling the list that's not like in here. Let's take a look at it. I like this one. It's only 3 minutes. All right.
This is a tutorial on how to use the TI Inspire to do a linear programming problem. All right, let's start off on our home page and let's select choice number 1, new document. If you have anything in there you want to save it, now is the time to do it.